everyone. I'm Christine Tulley, President and Executive Writing Coach at Defend, Publish, and Lead. And welcome to episode 232, Look Yourself Up. I try to do this once a year. I don't always pull it off, but I do try to do this once a year where I actually Google myself and just take a look and see what's showing up at the top of that search profile. In the summer, I tend to work on more professional development type tasks, career things like updating a CV or checking out professional organizations that I might still want to be a part of, or I want to join a new one. All of those tasks tend to fall into the summer. And part of that is me also just looking at, in general, what's my research profile looking like? What do I need to do to work through some updates and so on? So what I'm going to share on the screen, and you don't need to see it, is what happened when I looked myself up today. I couldn't remember the last time I did it. I think it was sometime last summer. And obviously Google or whatever search engine you're using will change the way that it displays information. So I'm sure this looks a little bit different from the last time. But in general, one of the things that I was relatively happy to see is that pretty much everything that's showing up is research oriented. So I'm on screen, I'm looking at just some photographs at the top. Most of them are like presentations at a conference. Some of them are presentations where I work. It does list like an affiliation and research interests. And I was happy because this is something I paid attention to last time, was that somewhere along the line, it listed research interests that for me were fairly old. They were like 15 years old. And now it looks like Google has caught up to list my areas of research. So I was really happy to see that. And so that's something I would encourage you to check out. So if you're looking on screen, it would be in your upper right-hand corner. This was in Google when I looked up mine, but totally worth Googling yourself and just looking at that it's like a shaded, kind of like a light orange box that says research interests. Other things that I like when I started looking, it does list my institution, it has LinkedIn, it has Defend, Publish, Lead, and it has my WordPress, which is just a private web page that I keep for some of my academic projects. Right now, most of our stuff for Defend, Publish, and Lead is on that website, but on my personal website, I have some other projects and some former speaking engagements and pictures. So those were all on there. Also, sabbatical work at Ohio State was listed for a talk I gave. One of my books for a press is on there. ResearchGate is another one. The Humanities Commons, and Still X for some posts, and then Google Scholar. So for me, this is a pretty standard academic profile, what's showing up in there, and then some posts from inside higher education that I've done. So what this tells me and why I'm looking at this, I mean, overall, I'm pretty satisfied. This is fine. However, what's not up here, and this is one of the things that I would encourage you to do, is kind of a fun summer task to check off. I have 2 new books that came out in April, and at the moment, neither of these are showing up in the top 2 or a top page results. So one of the things that this tells me is that I need to do more putting out some posts about new scholarship for these books. One's an edited collection on faculty writing research, and another one is a book on time use management for academic mothers. That's a book by Routledge, and that one's on Rec Comp Moms. Both of those pieces aren't showing up anywhere on this first page. So, why we do this, and why I would argue that you want to do this, is just if you have new research that's coming out, it's possible people will discover it through other ways, like a post on LinkedIn or a post on X. But it's also one of the ways, if they look you up because maybe they come across you when they're reading something by you, then they're not going to see that other current work is there if it's not showing up on the front page. So there's some nuances to this. And I know that certainly Google has an algorithm to make the things show up, but I also know that the more active I am on promoting certain projects, eventually they will show up on that first page. So a book that I did in 2018 is still showing up on this first page, which is great. I mean, I like that book. It was a fun book to do, but I'd like to have these other things on there too. So I encourage you to take some time this week just to Google yourself and to see, there's a lot of different ways you can get things to show up in Google on the homepage. Certainly people that are doing like Substack blogs or writing regularly in a space that refreshes content is one spot. LinkedIn is another one. So we do put out things on LinkedIn pretty regularly for the company. And so that I'm not surprised that that's showing up for one of the spaces. But it's a good task to take care of as you're working through some other professional development tasks. And this is also a good time to pair what you're working with CV work. I'll put a link in the show notes to our episode on how to rethink, updating your CV and your online profile and all that. It's a great time to kind of look at all these things together since they do provide that overview of your research. And for many of you that will be on the job market in the fall, or if you're going through the tenure process and you'll be applying for tenure or promotion in the fall, it's a really great time to have your Google presence all tidied up with everything that you want to have showing in there, just in case anybody looks something up. So hopefully this tip was helpful. Also, I would encourage you, if you can, to go ahead and check out our events on Eventbrite. We've put up a slew of faculty development seminars. So people that are faculty developers, if you're getting ready to support faculty, you can join us to figure out how to do faculty writing groups or how you might support chairs or deans as writers. Lots of different content out there. For academics and graduate students, there's also a webinar out there on paragraph writing. Dissertation students, we've got several things out there for you. And then we also have strategies for writing a book. So lots of things that are out there this summer. They're all free. If you go to our show notes, you can find us there. There'll be a link to Eventbrite, or you can also find that link on defendpublish.com and just click events. Happy writing this week.